Well, that's clearly the greatest advice the internet has ever had since the internet launched in 1993. But here's the reason why. Well, welcome back to Wes Reacts. My name's Wes Owen, and I'm on here to react to TikTok advice. Now, this is my 27th year in business, having built and sold 9 companies and done business in 7 countries around the world. Today, we're going to look at TikTok advice, and I'm going to put it through the lenses of, can this advice help me build my business? And we're going to take a tally. What do you reckon this is going to land at by the end of our session today? Do you reckon most of it is going to be advice that will be good for your business? Or is most of it advice that is absolutely pointless? We're going to keep score, so let's have fun.
The fastest way to grow a small business is the owner spends more time growing their business than operating their business. And if you get that into your mindset, I'm spending more time growing my business than operating my business, you will very, very quickly recoup any cash that you've put in. So if I was an electrician, so I would change my mindset to say I am the sales and marketing machine of my electrical business, and I would employ an electrician straight away. Then I would learn lots of marketing and sales techniques to bring in more cash flow to employ more electricians.
Super valuable advice. It's a tough point to get to. Most people, when they start, they're wearing the technician hat, but most people wear the technician hat way too long, right? The fastest businesses that grow are the ones that build teams, not the one where the person does all of the work. You literally become the bottleneck in no time. If you're the technician, using the electrician example, and you're good at sales and marketing, you'll literally paint yourself in a corner within 12 months because you'll be getting so many customers that you do the work that you can't possibly grow, and you'll be so frustrated. If you can build teams, then you can have a team that do marketing, team that do sales, team that do delivery, team that do financial management, and you can grow a business. It is disproportionately faster to scale working on your business than in it. So if you're caught in your business right now, figure out how you can deploy capital to get more team, to get out of your business, to actually grow it. So for me in my businesses today, the question that I've got to be asking myself all the time is, where am I the bottleneck? Where am I too in the business? And then all I've literally got to do is find some capital, deploy it into a person or a team to be able to do that task. I free up my time and I can put that time to a higher level, more strategic, working on my business kind of task.
Let's talk about how to get from the small business side of the cash flow quadrant over to the big business side. Once you become a big business, you get way better tax rates, you have way more flexibility, and way more protection. The secret to getting from small business to a big business is to put enough systems in place so that the small business will run by itself. That's exactly what I did with my product company. I turned a small business into a big business. It's now a system that doesn't require any input from me, and that system generates wealth on a monthly basis. Now I'm free to make TikTok videos to help you guys. Be good to future you and read this book if you want to know more.
So I'd call that flawed advice. You know, for me, I know that if I was to sit down and produce like a perfect systems manual, then next year is not going to be a fantastic year because I've got no customers and no cash flow, right? I've got a great systems manual, but I'm not going to actually make any money. Now, when it comes to systems, it's actually pretty simple. Just grab the show pony from your company, give them a smartphone and an audio recording device, and just get them to record everything that happens in the business. Commit to doing 5 or 6 videos a week, put them into a system, and you've got that. The problem is that if you want to have a massive year next year, systems is not going to be enough. You've already got systems. Sure, they might be able to be better, but for me, I don't want to have a systems manual and not have any customers, right? I would rather build a massive marketing engine and a sales engine and improve my systems over time than have phenomenal systems and no money. Speaking of phenomenal advice, I want to make sure that you get an invitation to next year's Kingdom Business Summit. It's on March 27 to 29, 2025. March 27 to 29, 2025 in Brisbane, but also we have a live stream. So no matter where you are around the world, you can dial in. This is 2.5 days of immersion training where we build businesses, deepen our walk with the Lord, and we're building a phenomenal community of kingdom entrepreneurs. Watch this video.
And I would like to focus your attention upon these words. When they beheld the boldness of Peter and John, they marveled. How long has it been since the church made the world sit up and take notice? How long has it been since believers manifested a holy boldness? How long has it been since our demeanor, our courage, and our boldness has amazed the world?
The Kingdom Business Summit is a rallying point to learn business, build each other up, and this year hear from our largest lineup of speakers. We have Lord Robert Edmiston, whose company this year is going to do £650 million of revenue. We have Michael Hyatt, a global leadership expert. We have a panel of amazing Kingdom women entrepreneurs. And we have myself, Wes Hone, the founder of the Kingdom Business Global Movement. If we want to see Jesus in the marketplace, we're going to need a fresh boldness to be vocal about our faith, take risks, solve problems, influence communities, stop corruption, walk in authority, advance the kingdom, and be the light of Christ to a hurting marketplace. Let's step into boldness. Boldness to stand up for righteousness. Boldness to proclaim the truth. Boldness to make a big profit, because playing small helps no one.
Here is a brand new business model that most people do not know about that is going to replace 80% of professional services businesses in 2023. And this is the growth partner model. For years, businesses have had to use external agencies to hire what they couldn't acquire in-house. They couldn't get the in-house staff, so they had to work with a third-party agency. And businesses don't like to do this. Trust me, I was a business owner. I was in that position as well. With this new growth partner model, companies are getting exactly what they want. They're getting the in-house feel and the in-house results, whilst also being able to leverage the best talent from an external source. As a growth partner, you work directly with the best companies in the world, and you work with a few who are going to make you wildly successful, and you can make them wildly successful. So you work with a very small amount of businesses, and you apply your skill set to them to help them to grow their business, and you take a share of the growth of their business. And that saves you from having to develop your own operations and them having to deal with an external agency.
Yeah, we put that in the bad advice category very, very, very clearly. Listen, it doesn't even matter if you say it that passionately, it's still bad advice. If I was to not want to pay, and so therefore I do this growth partner model, and so I'm taking, equity inside 10 other businesses, how am I going to run my business? That's cool if you're interested in TikTok advice and TikTok following, and I'm part of 12 businesses and I'm an entrepreneur. That's cool. It's not going to actually make you actually build a business, right? What you actually need to do is you actually need to build the business and the unique selling proposition and figure out what problems that you bring a solution for, and then go to market in a really big way and then yell it from the rooftops and just stick to one business. And as you make some cash flow, redeploy it to go and get those services. The last thing I want to do is have an interest in 12 other businesses who I've got to give time and attention to in exchange for services. Why would I give my time, the most valuable thing that I can give to something, when I could just do what's worked forever, give them money?
What should I do to grow my business even more?
What do you sell?
Freeze-dried candy.
What part of the business is the hardest right now?
Selling it in general.
Do you have enough product?
Yes, way more than enough.
So I always ask myself this question. Where do the people that buy my kind of product hang out? Who's the perfect person to buy from you?
Children.
Yes. So where do they hang out?
Park.
Okay, but is there a specific park?
No, I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
I'm going to let you know a secret. If you call the city, they will tell you which is the busiest park that they have. And if I'm going to go spend some time at any park, it's that park.
Great advice by Dan. All he's really talking about here is where is your ideal customer en masse? when you start a business, of course, like it's cool. You get your customers like 1 by 1, 2 by 2, right? Hand-to-hand combat. But at some point, when you realize that that's a slow way to grow, it's a necessary way because you get to figure out your messaging lands, your USP, you get to figure those things out. But at some point, you're going to want to move to the fact that you're kind of selling one to many, or going where there's a lot of customers, right? And do what we call fishing in a barrel. You get them all around you, right? And then you can just fish from that pool. So, for me, I'm always asking myself the question, right? For when it comes to my products and services, where can I get a large pool of customers? And then I'll just reverse engineer, whether that's I'm going to put on an event, or whether that's I need to align and collaborate with another organization, or whatever that is. Where are my customers en masse? To be able to figure that out, you first of all got to get a real clear avatar of who your customer is, what age, gender, location, geography, like social status, brands, hobbies, build a real clear picture. And then once you've got that, where are these people en masse? And go fish in that pool. The amount of people that have never done that exercise, it's hilarious. Build an avatar, ask yourself where they are en masse, and then go and be in that place. And you'll see that you'll start to accelerate your customer acquisition.
3 important things to do when growing your business. Don't take blind risks. It's not worth it. Always take calculated decisions in your business, especially if you're starting a new business. Always, always, always hire people that are smarter than you. After all, they will be able to give you a healthier platform, a structure, things that you probably don't know as a business leader, and they can guide you. That's why it's important to always bring people that are above you and they can assist you with growing your business. Networking. Networking is the key to generating business and getting yourself and your brand and your name out there. Always, always network. No matter where it is, no matter where you go, it's always important to talk to people, socialize, and generate that relationship and interaction with other people.
Well, as Meatloaf said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. The first 2 are bad, the last one made a lot of sense. Never take blind risks. It's like literally starting a business is taking a blind risk. You have really no idea what you're in for, and you go and figure it out anyway, right? You're going to take tons of blind risks. Sure, you can do research, right? When I decided to take my business coaching practice that I started in 2007, and then in 2012, when I felt the Lord say real clearly that I was to run a training academy for Christian entrepreneurs, it was a blind risk. There was no playbook. Nobody else had ever done it before. I couldn't look at one other example to learn what worked and what didn't. It was literally a blind risk, right? That's where my faith came in. And without faith, it's impossible to please God. So you're going to have to take blind faith. The second thing it is, only employ people smarter than you. Well, that's cool. Down the line, at the start, you'll take anybody. You normally can't afford people that are smarter than you when you're first starting out in business. So that doesn't work. Right? Remember, you've only got 2 choices when it comes to getting great people. You either hire them in or you build them internally. There's only 2 choices to end up with great people. And if you're going to bring them in from the market and they're already smart, they're going to cost you 70, 80, 90, 100% more than if you go and build those people through your organization. And sometimes you don't have the luxury of affording it. So it's not going to work to make sure that you only hire people smarter than you. Sometimes you're going to bring people in, you're going to train them because you're smarter and set them up to do a good job. When it comes to networking, that was the bit that he said is right. A lot of people running around going, I'm B2B or I'm B2C. Nope, there's no such thing. Business has always been P2P, people to people. A business has never purchased anything. So if you want to sell more products to people, go out and be where the people are. Well, we've got a bit in both camps. We've got some good advice. We've got some bad advice, somewhat even. Let's keep going.
Here are 3 things I tell every single business owner to do to make more money. Most businesses need to have a Facebook ad running, and more specifically, I want you to have a top of funnel Advantage Plus campaign. The second thing is that you need to create highly engaged content on both TikTok and on Instagram. What I don't want you to do is post a product photo on a table in a flat lay. Those days are over. Focus on shorter videos, showcase your expertise, showcase your unique selling proposition, and do some kind of storytelling that invokes an emotional reaction. The third thing is that I want you to think about something that people would type into Google to find your product, and then I want you to target that question as a Google ad. Those 3 things are going to get you sales, followers, engagement.
painful to watch. But actually, the first thing that she said, everybody should be running a Facebook campaign and doing Advantage Plus. If you don't know what that is, that's basically Meta's AI generated tool to help you run better ads. We're obviously running them here. We're running them always because I'm trying to figure out what works and what doesn't so we can tell our clients. My early kind of testing with Advantage Plus Meta ads is actually really good. It's, it's basically reduced so far, typical cost of conversion. It's dropped it by about 10 to 15%, which is not about saving money. It means I can get 10 to 15% more traffic for the same amount of dollars. Now, you actually may find a much better outcome. Ours is super niche, obviously being faith-based. But I actually think that you should consider just getting like a real high top of funnel, maybe video views, Advantage Plus, whatever, just to start to get a top of funnel audience of people that watch more than 50% of some really engaging content. And then you can work with that list forever. Every time you do a launch or a campaign, you can go back to that list and make them an offer, and you know that they're somewhat warm because they've already watched more than 50% of one of your videos. That's the kind of stuff that we're doing here all of the time, building this massive top of funnel awareness across a whole bunch of stuff. We don't ask for anything. There's no sales. It's just value based, so that when it comes time to running a summit or running an event, we can go back to a warm audience and go and make them the offer. Phenomenal way for you to build a database of customers. Sure, you don't get their email addresses, but you can target them forever and ever.
My top 5 tips on how you can grow your new business. Number 1, social media. Now, back when we first started, it was a very Facebook-oriented world. If I was starting again right now, all of my focus would be all on TikTok. Because of the way that the algorithm works on TikTok, it can pick up on great content and it can just go viral so quickly. And that is so powerful when wanting to get in front of new people or wanting to get in your brand, your product, or your message in front of a new, larger audience. For something that's probably more relevant and more similar to Gymshark, then try and at least be entertaining, informative, and just valuable with the content you're making. Number 2, find your niche. We are so fortunate now to live in a world, because of the internet, because of social media, that you can literally put your specific niche message or product in front of so many different people. And rather than previously, where everything was done physically, you can group all the different people that have interest in your specific niche across the world. And generally now, that will build a big enough population for you to communicate with and sell to. In terms of your niche, you want it to be specific, you want it to be in a market that isn't particularly saturated, and the most important one of the 3, it has to be in something that you truly love. Number 3, investing back into the business. Invest back into the business for as long as you physically can. If you truly believe in the business, then this will be easy for you to do. But what you don't want to be doing is the second that you start making profits, start to pull them out of the business. That is completely counterproductive, and we need to try and really invest in the business and allow it to grow and flourish.
Well, shout out to Ben Francis. In my opinion, the greatest entrepreneur on the planet of the modern era, hands down, by a long way. The guy is absolutely incredible. The company, Gymshark, is incredible. I want to pick up on one thing that is phenomenal advice, and that is put the money back in the business. This is the biggest, regret that I've got, professionally. And it's the biggest mistake that I see most of our clients make every single year, right? So one of the things that I didn't do is I didn't double down spending money back in the business in my early years when I could have done and should have done. If I think about Facebook ads, right? We were really early adopters of Facebook ads, 2014, 2015. It was costing me $9 in Facebook spend to get somebody I didn't know into a room at a conference. $9 per person. Now that cost is $200 or something, right? It's like wildly different. And, I think I spent 150 grand on ads, but I should have spent way more, right? Like, had I done, it'd be a different game today. But I spent that money, which was way more than most people ever did, but I hedged a little bit, right? These days, a lot more money goes back in because I'm not motivated by the short-term outcome. I'll fund team, I'll fund growth, I'll fund innovation, I'll fund changes. But I find that most people, especially those solo operator, those smaller businesses, it's all about what they can get out on a monthly basis instead of actually putting it back in, buying leverage, multiplying a business. It's the mistake I made in the early years that I don't make now, and I see most of our clients make on the way up. If they were to actually take that, live off like next to nothing, put the money back in, test enough things, find out what works, they'd have a massive business, right? Lots of team, a big machine producing cash. And ironically, that would mean they'd have more time back.
3 things I would focus on if I was going to start my coaching business over today. And if we've never met, hi, I'm Jaya Rose. I'm an online business coach, and I help you become the go-to coach in your niche. So I know what I'm talking about here. Number 1, I would start a TikTok account and I would post 1 to 3 times a day for 3 months in one niche. Number 2, I would create a coaching package that solves a specific problem. I would sell that for the first 3 to 6 months. Then I would scale it to a group coaching program. Number 3, I would start repurposing my content after I got all the clarity of doing the 2 first things I just told you. Let me know if this was helpful and if you want more tips like this.
Yeah, so I'm going to call it in terms of where to put the advice. I'm going to put it on not great. I'm going to put it on the bad advice. It's okay. Here's the biggest flaw to what she said, right? She wants to go to market with a 3 to 6 month coaching program solving a specific problem. It's very hard to scale that out. And think about it. You literally have to go and resell to your customers every 3 to 6 months. Very, very tough way, right, of building something. You'd be better off to come up with a bigger value proposition, put people into a program for a longer period of time so that you don't have to keep selling them. Otherwise, your churn rate's going to be massive, attrition is going to be bad, it's going to be working against you, you're going to wear yourself out constantly selling. If every 3 months you've got to go and resell, then 1/3 of your 3 months of coaching, you're actually selling, not coaching. It gets really, really tricky, right? There's one value to it. It's easy to get a quick sale if you do, it allows you to get a little bit of early traction if you're selling in 3 to 6 month solutions because people don't have the risk of signing up with you. But you will actually end up painting yourself in a corner, right? Because it's going to be a massive job to keep that engine alive and have so many transactions that you're constantly selling. So for those reasons, bad advice.
Every day you just put one foot forward in front of the other. And by the way, keep your head down. Focus on the next step. Don't focus on the end of the marathon. That's how you get overwhelmed and that's how you give up. Just focus on that next step.
Terrible advice. If you get that myopic that you're just running on the next step, like you are just going to literally get so suffocated by the amount of tasks on your to-do list. You actually need to look down the road. You actually need to make sure that you're running on a path that you want to get to, right? The times when it becomes so overwhelming for me and like the world's coming in because there's too many pressures is the time that I'm frustrated and I want to quit. What I actually have to do is I have to look further down the line and go, that's why I'm doing it. That's what's exciting, right? That's why I'm willing to pay the price of what's in front of me. That's the thing that pulls you forward. Otherwise, the treadmill, right, that the hamster wheel is going to be the thing that either takes you off course because you're not course correcting according to where you want to go, or you're going to quit because it just seems like an insurmountable outcome. Terrible advice. You actually need to make sure that on the day-to-day decision-making matrix that you're actually lining up with where you want to go.
What controls the...
Do we have to? Gosh.
Quality of your life? What controls the quality of your life? Is it money? Can you have a lot of money and still have a horrible life? Yes or no? Yes or no? Is it relationships? Can you have someone who totally loves you and still be miserable? Yes or no? So there's only 2 things that control the quality of your life. Please jot them down. For the rest of your life, you want to remember. The quality of my life is controlled by 2 things, meaning and emotion. Meaning and emotion. The meaning you give to things controls the emotion that you feel. People come up with different meanings, and that produces different emotions, and those emotions make you make different decisions. When you're angry, you're going to decide differently than when you're playful or grateful or excited.
Quality of life, like what even is that? That's the most ambiguous thing ever. Here's what I would say. I would say this is terrible advice. And here's why. Actually, the most fulfillment you'll get as a Christian and as a Christian in business is doing the assignment on your life, the God-given call specific for you, specific to your skills and talents in the time that you find yourself in. That is where you'll get your quality of life from, right? Not from your own thoughts. My Bible says the flesh is weak, right? I'm supposed to take them all, captive, right? And be able to process them because my thoughts run wild. I would say to you that this is poor advice because actually at the core of it,
My quality of life comes from the joy of being a witness into the world around me. For my particular case, right, the assignment of my life is to run a trading academy for Christian entrepreneurs. My quality of life comes from doing the will of God in my life, not from any external force.
It's cool to plan out a year. Great advice. Greatest advice that's ever been put out on TikTok, apparently, is what I've heard. Let's figure out what I said. It's cool to plan out a year, right? And you should, and that's what we're talking about, but you've got to be able to plan out your day. What is a successful day looking like for you? And then literally start making those changes in 2024 so that those disciplines catapult you into 2025 rather than getting back in January 6, 8, 10, or if you're in construction, March, and then trying to build your disciplines. It's the wrong way to go about it. So you don't want to go planning out a great year and you fail to plan out a great day. What does a day need to include for you? Well, that's clearly the greatest advice the internet has ever had since the internet launched in 1993. But here's the reason why. This is a time of year when everyone's going to plan out their next year. You actually have no rights to plan the year ahead if you cannot plan a great day. What are the things that need to be in a successful day? The Bible tells us to take up our cross daily. There's a key. There's got to be time in there to have intimacy with the Lord. There's got to be time in your day to have intimacy with your partner. There's got to be time in there to build yourself, to understand the scriptures, to build great relationships, to be around the people that matter, to drive the business forward, to build wealth for generations. It's all got to be in a day. And if you have tons and tons and tons of days that you never actually are intentional about, next year is gonna suck. Well, that's a wrap on episode 16 of Wes Reacts. Turns out that there is some good business advice on the TikToker, but the majority of it, not so much. So you have to be super careful, right? Because as you're doom scrolling and this stuff is leaping out and trying to get inside of you, you actually need to get better at filtering. What is good advice for the redeemed believer to help them build a business? And what is the wisdom of this world filtered through the father of lies that's going to take you off track? Hopefully this is a reminder of what is important. Hey, in the comments, let me know what was your favorite answer.